Afterwards, interim boss Michael Carrick said it's pretty clear from both sides that he will be moving on. On Tuesday evening, attention turns to the Champions League, the current campaign, as PSG host Paris Saint-Germain in the first semi-final first leg. There's also a big game in the Championship as Southampton host Ipswich. With a win for the visitors, Ipswich would all but seal automatic promotion for them back to the Premier League, while 3 points for the Saints would keep their hopes of automatic promotion alive. There's 3 games in League One. Northampton host Barnsley, Peterborough entertain Mansfield, and Stockport take on Port Vale. Elsewhere in the World Snooker Championship, Ronnie O'Sullivan's dream of making it 8 world titles to set a new outright record in the modern era is over for another year after he lost a classic to old rival John Higgins 13-12, a deciding frame going in the favour of Higgins. World number 1 Judd Trump, meanwhile, has also been eliminated. Trump lost also in a decider 13-12 to Iranian qualifier Hossein Vafai. Neil Robertson knows into the World Snooker Championship quarterfinals thanks to a 13-7 win over Chris Wakelin. In boxing, after it was announced that Anthony Joshua was to make his comeback against Christian Prenge in Saudi Arabia in July, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that the much anticipated bout between AJ and Tyson Fury is now signed, sealed and delivered, and that is expected to take place in November. In darts, Bo Graves became the first woman to win a PDC ranking title as she beat Michael Smith 8-7 in the Players' Championship 11 final in Milton Keynes on Monday evening. While in golf, Live Golf is, according to reports, set to postpone its Louisiana event, which is scheduled for June, due to concerns that it would clash with the World Cup, and that could impact attendance and people watching on television. In tennis, second seed Alina Rybakina lost 7-6, 6-4 to Anastasia Potapova in the last 16 of the Madrid Open. While in rugby league, Castleford Tigers have signed Tyler Dupree and Phoenix Lowley to Gaga on 3.5-year deals. Finally, in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 125-113 to keep their playoff series alive at 3-2, while the Oklahoma City Thunder completed a 4-0 NBA playoff series sweep with a comfortable win over the Phoenix Suns. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. Will start with football. Manchester United have moved within touching distance of qualification for the Champions League for next season after a 2-1 home win over Brentford on Monday evening. Goals from Benjamin Sesko. Casemiro gave United a hard-fought win, which means that the Red Devils need just 2 points from their remaining games to secure qualification back into the Champions League. Afterwards, Casemiro, who was named man of the match, speculation about his future continues after it was confirmed that he's leaving the club in the summer. When pushed on the matter afterwards, interim boss Michael Carrick said it's pretty clear from both sides that he will be moving on. On Tuesday evening, attention turns to the Champions League, the current campaign, as PSG host Paris Saint-Germain in the first semi-final first leg. There's also a big game in the Championship as Southampton host Ipswich. With a win for the visitors, Ipswich would all but seal automatic promotion for them back to the Premier League, while 3 points for the Saints would keep their hopes of automatic promotion alive. There's 3 games in League One. Northampton host Barnsley, Peterborough entertain Mansfield, and Stockport take on Port Vale. Elsewhere in the World Snooker Championship, Ronnie O'Sullivan's dream of making it 8 world titles to set a new outright record in the modern era is over for another year after he lost a classic to old rival John Higgins 13-12, a deciding frame going in the favour of Higgins. World number 1 Judd Trump, meanwhile, has also been eliminated. Trump lost also in a decider 13-12 to Iranian qualifier Hossein Vafai. Neil Robertson knows into the World Snooker Championship quarterfinals thanks to a 13-7 win over Chris Wakelin. In boxing, after it was announced that Anthony Joshua was to make his comeback against Christian Prenge in Saudi Arabia in July, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that the much anticipated bout between AJ and Tyson Fury is now signed, sealed and delivered, and that is expected to take place in November. In darts, Bo Graves became the first woman to win a PDC ranking title as she beat Michael Smith 8-7 in the Players' Championship 11 final in Milton Keynes on Monday evening. While in golf, Live Golf is, according to reports, set to postpone its Louisiana event, which is scheduled for June, due to concerns that it would clash with the World Cup, and that could impact attendance and people watching on television. In tennis, second seed Alina Rybakina lost 7-6, 6-4 to Anastasia Potapova in the last 16 of the Madrid Open, while in rugby league, Castleford Tigers have signed Tyler Dupree and Phoenix Lowley to Gaga on 3.5-year deals. Finally, in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 125-113 to keep their playoff series alive at 3-2, while the Oklahoma City Thunder completed a 4-0 NBA playoff series sweep with a comfortable win over the Phoenix Suns. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. Manchester United have moved within touching distance of qualification for the Champions League for next season after a 2-1 home win over Brentford on Monday evening. Goals from Benjamin Sesko. Casemiro gave United a hard-fought win, which means that the Red Devils need just 2 points from their remaining games to secure qualification back into the Champions League. Afterwards, Casemiro, who was named man of the match, speculation about his future continues after it was confirmed that he's leaving the club in the summer. When pushed on the matter afterwards, interim boss Michael Carrick said it's pretty clear from both sides that he will be moving on. On Tuesday evening, attention turns to the Champions League, the current campaign, as PSG host Paris Saint-Germain in the first semi-final first leg. There's also a big game in the Championship as Southampton host Ipswich. With a win for the visitors, Ipswich would all but seal automatic promotion for them back to the Premier League, while 3 points for the Saints would keep their hopes of automatic promotion alive. There's 3 games in League One. Northampton host Barnsley, Peterborough entertain Mansfield, and Stockport take on Port Vale. Elsewhere in the World Snooker Championship, Ronnie O'Sullivan's dream of making it 8 world titles to set a new outright record in the modern era is over for another year after he lost a classic to old rival John Higgins 13-12, a deciding frame going in the favour of Higgins. World number 1 Judd Trump, meanwhile, has also been eliminated. Trump lost also in a decider 13-12 to Iranian qualifier Hossein Vafai. Neil Robertson, though, is into the World Snooker Championship quarterfinals thanks to a 13-7 win over Chris Wakelin. In boxing, after it was announced that Anthony Joshua was to make his comeback against Christian Prenga in Saudi Arabia in July, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that the much-anticipated bout between AJ and Tyson Fury is now signed, sealed and delivered, and that is expected to take place in November. In darts, Bo Graves became the first woman to win a PDC ranking title as she beat Michael Smith 8-7 in the Players' Championship 11 final in Milton Keynes on Monday evening, while in golf, Live Golf is, according to reports, set to postpone its Louisiana event, which is scheduled for June, due to concerns that it would clash with the World Cup, and that could impact attendance and people watching on television. In tennis, second seed Alina Rybakina lost 7-6, 6-4 to Anastasia Potapova in the last 16 of the Madrid Open, while in rugby league, Castleford Tigers have signed Tyler Dupree and Phoenix Lowley to Gaga on 3.5-year deals. Finally, in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 125-113 to keep their playoff series alive at 3-2, while the Oklahoma City Thunder completed a 4-0 NBA playoff series sweep with a comfortable win over the Phoenix Suns. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. Manchester United have moved within touching distance of qualification for the Champions League for next season after a 2-1 home win over Brentford on Monday evening. Goals from Benjamin Sesko. Casemiro gave United a hard-fought win, which means that the Red Devils need just 2 points from their remaining games to secure qualification back into the Champions League. Afterwards, Casemiro, who was named man of the match, speculation about his future continues after it was confirmed that he's leaving the club in the summer. When pushed on the matter afterwards, interim boss Michael Carrick said it's pretty clear from both sides that he will be moving on. On Tuesday evening, attention turns to the Champions League, the current campaign, as PSG host Paris Saint-Germain in the first semi-final first leg. There's also a big game in the Championship as Southampton host Ipswich, with a win for the visitors. Ipswich would all but seal automatic promotion for them back to the Premier League, while 3 points for the Saints would keep their hopes of automatic promotion alive. There's 3 games in League One. Northampton host Barnsley, Peterborough entertain Mansfield, and Stockport take on Port Vale. Elsewhere in the World Snooker Championship, Ronnie O'Sullivan's dream of making it 8 world titles to set a new outright record in the modern era is over for another year after he lost a classic to old rival John Higgins 13-12, a deciding frame going in the favour of Higgins. World number 1 Judd Trump, meanwhile, has also been eliminated. Trump lost also in a decider 13-12 to Iranian qualifier Hossein Vafai. Neil Robertson, though, is into the World Snooker Championship quarterfinals thanks to a 13-7 win over Chris Wakelin. In boxing, after it was announced that Anthony Joshua was to make his comeback against Christian Prenga in Saudi Arabia in July, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that the much anticipated bout between AJ and Tyson Fury is now signed, sealed and delivered, and that is expected to take place in November. In darts, Beau Graves became the first woman to win a PDC ranking title as she beat Michael Smith 8-7 in the Players' Championship 11 final in Milton Keynes on Monday evening. While in golf, Live Golf is, according to reports, set to postpone its Louisiana event, which is scheduled for June, due to concerns that it would clash with the World Cup, and that could impact attendance and people watching on television. In tennis, second seed Alina Rybakina lost 7-6, 6-4 to Anastasia Potapova in the last 16 of the Madrid Open, while in rugby league, Castleford Tigers have signed Tyler Dupree and Phoenix Lowley to Gaga on 3.5-year.
Fantastic sides, but can they be the team to help out 2 others as well as themselves? And as well, bouncing back from that defeat at the weekend to Manchester City, ending a 20-game unbeaten run for the Saints, and 2-1 loss at Wembley. Of course, Ipswich as well. They're coming off of a goalless draw against the Baggies at the weekend. They make 5 changes though. The Saints make 3. Out goes Wellington, Bragg and Stewart. Incoming Manning, Charles and Larin. Whereas for the Tractor Boys, Kipre, Taylor, McAteer, Clark and Memety drop out. In come Davies, Neil, Burns, Nunes and Philogene. Ball forward to Philogene on the left hand side, too much on it. Out of play for a throw. So quickly, if you did miss the lineups in the preamble, it is Peretz in goal for the Saints, a back 3 of Bree, Skipper, Harwood, Bellis, Wood and Manning, Gander and Charles in the holding midfield, the roles with a 3 in behind Larin of Azaz, Cienza and Fellows, whereas for Kieran McKenna's visitors, it is Walton in goal, back 4 of Furlong, Skipper, O'Shea, Greaves and Davies, with Matusiwa and Neil, the 2 holders in the middle, with Burns, Nunes and Philogene supporting Azon, who leads the line for Ipswich this evening. Thomas Kirk is the official for all the action. It's myself, Lewis Raftery, joined by Charlie O'Brien, take you through all the action this evening. We'll run Charlie in a moment, because here come Ipswich down the left hand side. Davies with a cross into the box. He's going to get forward all evening long. Maybe that's something that Tom Fellows can get in behind the attacking flying fullback from Leeds United man. But Charlie, we were speaking before we went on the air, it's a big game this evening. Ipswich trying to, as we said, it doesn't confirm it, but all but confirms it. 3 points this evening. Southampton, St Mary's, not an easy place to come for. I can already feel there's a lot of tension in the air.
Yeah, absolutely, Lewis. It's a massive game. Obviously, both teams exactly where they want to be in the business end of the season, but the way they've got there couldn't really be more different. Obviously, Southampton still unbeaten in the league in 17 matches, and have come from nowhere really this season to look like the form team in the whole championship. But Ipswich have really been stumbling towards the finish line, just 4 wins in the last 10. They'll be desperate to get the job done today and just be able to enjoy, get the party started before that final day clash.
It will be important, of course, all the games on Saturday 12:30 in the championship, the final day. That should be some entertainment. Forward come Ipswich, won well in the middle. Philogene left hand side, his strike comes in, forces a nice save from Peretz. Will it be kept in play on the left by Burns? Yes, it is. Ball into the box, finds Neil, takes it further into the box, swings one in, takes a deflection off a defender and onto the roof. because Howard Bellis just stuck out a leg trying to get anything on it. It might have found the feet of Azon if he didn't, but that's one of them where as soon as that hit the outstretched foot of Howard Bellis, I thought that was going to go in the goal past Perez. That'd be a corner, but a good start for Ipswich.
Yeah, from our TV angle, you couldn't really tell where that one was going, and he's a little bit lucky there because it's a slightly lazy leg stuck out, really. I see what you mean. He did have to get something on it, but he's not sliding for it. He's just the outside of that right boot, almost off the toes, and that would have been an extraordinary own goal, but it came closer than he would have liked.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's outstretched, it slices off him and curls, as you say. So curls, luckily, onto the top corner. I feel if that would have just hit his foot, it would have probably gone straight into the back of the net. So a little bit lucky there was Howard Bellis, but it will be a corner for Ipswich. On the far side, it's an in-swinger, heads go up, and the header goes well all over the bar. Azon getting right underneath it. Greaves was there as well. So one of the two out of play for a goal kick for the Saints. In the first half, Southampton, usual white and red, going from left to right. Ipswich in their home jerseys of blue, white shorts, blue socks. They're going from right to left. So in the first half, they're facing their away fans. They're attacking their away fans, really, is what I should say. Goal kick, ball forward, followed by O'Shea on Larin. That'll be an interesting battle. Of course, Larin, one of the players coming back into the 11 from the defeats at the weekend to Manchester City. They did cover their previous game, though, Southampton, before. Well, this time last week it was a 2-2 draw against Bristol City, and just felt that they weren't really at the best. But when you've got an FA Cup semi-final on the horizon, you can completely see why the team just didn't want to put those tackles in. They weren't as intense, and as I say, I can imagine when you've got that on your mind, well, there's a very good reason for it. Just over 5 minutes into this clash at St Mary's, currently goalless. Ipswich have started the better of the two. Again, as I said earlier, there's a lot of tension at St Mary's right now. Lots on the line. Ball over the top. Manning tries to deal with it. Burns does well to win it back. And I thought maybe Manning clipped him there. Yes, he went down a little easily with Burns, but moving the linesman right in front of him. Burns was going to win a free kick there. Instead, he's down and he knocks it with his hand. Almost picks it up. So handball. So free kick for Southampton. Not the only game on as well this evening on this service in League One. There is Northampton against Barnsley. A couple of other League One games and the League Two game. We'll do our best to keep you updated for it, of course. The big one at 8 o'clock you can catch on this service. PSG against Bayern Munich. Myself and Charlie will do our best to keep you up to date with the scores elsewhere. But of course our focus is here at St Mary's. Another long ball forward that's headed easily away. Banging those shapes up for a throw in the left hand side for Southampton. It is goalless between Northampton and Barnsley, as well as Peterborough and Mansfield. Port Vale are now leading 1-0 in Stockport. Bit of a shock there. And in the National League playoffs, they're already underway. Scunthorpe have taken nearly 1-0 lead against Southend here. Long ball over the top for Fellows. He's getting on the end of it. He might even bring Davies down. He does. I believe the referee's going to let advantage play, or is he going to enforce the ball that does come back? But you can already see both teams are trying to go a little bit long and a little bit direct there. Watching the back here, definitely was a bit of a push into the back there from Fellows. He's coming forward once again, though nearly falls on the edge of the area for Zaz. Cleared away off of an Ipswich Town boot, and out for a throw-in on the right hand side. Quickly taken by Bree into a Zaz. Bit of miscommunication at the back there. Philogene has to just boot it away, making sure there's, just make no mistakes. One picks one there. Nunes takes a heavy touch zone. Would be just breathing a sigh of relief that was a heavy touch off of the former Norwich City man. For another throw-in for Southampton, halfway line really, on the right hand side. And just as I'm speaking about, maybe as well this evening, because a draw, Southampton need the win. If they want to keep on matters, they've got to win. So to a degree for them is so early on that I don't think they'll be making mistakes and going full throttle just yet. But for Southampton, is it worth risking losing and just going forward and risking a mistake and giving Ipswich chances? A good chance, because a draw really does nothing for you. You need all 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the table, they sit in 5th, sure, but they're 6 points clear of Wrexham with a game in hand on them as well. So, you know, they're absolutely fine. Well, they must have already qualified for the playoffs. So I think there's no harm in just throwing everything out of this game, because I think the form you're in as Southampton, you wouldn't be scared of facing any of the teams in the playoffs. So it doesn't really matter whether you finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th.
It's win or nothing. I think you'd rather lose 1-0, 2-1, even if it's a sloppy goal because of a mistake. He went for the 3 points because that does keep your automatic promotion hopes alive. Of course, Ipswich still would be massive favourites, it has to be said, still in their hands, but as we already spoke about, a win for them this evening all but confirms it. Philogene has it on the left hand side, looking for support. Further wide is Davies, and as I say, he's up and down the left hand side so much it almost becomes a back three for Ipswich. Furlong gets forward as well to give him a lot of credit, maybe not to the quality of delivery of crosses that can be put in by left hand side Davies. Matu Siwa gets forward, underlapping run, just a little bit too much on it. I don't think he gets there, tries to clear it out so it's not a goal kick and it will be a throw-in. I do believe the defensive midfielder got absolutely nowhere near that. It was a good idea, good execution, but just in the pace from Matu Siwa, if that's probably Wes Burns in on the end of it, he probably does get that. I've seen pictures of Tondereka, as we spoke about Charlie Seller as well. They're still in the league, they're still mighty fine with their run in 36 matches coming into this game. 23 wins, 7 draws and 6 losses for the 33-year-old German head boss. So, I mean, it's just been a fantastic time. You spoke about earlier, Charlie. There's always that one team that they come from nowhere in the Championship, and sometimes they play off, sometimes they don't. This year it was Southampton in January. I couldn't tell you where they were, but I can tell you they were nowhere near the playoffs, and just a win after win after win. And of course now they find themselves, as you've already said, confirmed in the playoffs. They've been really the story of the Championship this season. Yeah,
and Tondereka specifically is such a good story. It's his first managerial job, promoted from the under-21s after Will Still's sacking, and maybe that helped him just that the expectations were quite low. It's sort of, just get us through the next few games. But within a month he'd got the full-time job, and then they struggled a little bit over the Christmas period, but then since then have been on this ridiculous run. He was manager of the month for February, and it's really interesting. And of course he's in the dugout today opposite another person who's still in his first job in management, Kieran McKenna. Obviously it's easy to forget because it's been 5 years now, and he's got 2 promotions on his CV, but it's just quite an interesting dynamic, really. It's not something you see often, and obviously both of them still very young. Both of them didn't make it as professionals, so that's just an interesting dynamic for this game.
I think he's about 39 years old as McKenna. Of course, he was at Manchester United for so long, basically the number 2 or number 3 to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was under Jose Mourinho as well, and then, as you said, when Ole got sacked in late 2021, basically a month or 2 later, he was given the job at Ipswich, and as you said, what a mighty fine job he has done. And I think credit to Ipswich. I think a lot of teams, maybe more are sticking with managers in this division, going, you know what, you got us to the promised land of the Premier League, we might as well give you a chance. For example, I think Scott Parker won't get sacked. I think he will go back with Burnley, probably take Burnley back up, so that they're quite happy with that. Then there will be a point they have to improve, but I mean, probably if you had said to Kieran McKenna in 2026 you'll be in the Championship playoffs, he'll have been over the moon when he first joined. But if you then say to him, yeah, but you also were already in the Premier League, came around and go, oh, I thought we were just building in the Championship playoffs for the first time. That shows what a good job he's done. That's Paul from Matisiwa inside his own half, picked up by Yander. Seeing this opening just over 12 minutes so far at St Mary's. Again, a lot of frantic action in the middle, and teams, you just can feel the tension rising. Poor pass from Fellows, picked off in the middle well by Nunes, but tackle in the middle from Shea Charles into Azaz. Feeds into the feet of Larin, takes a strike and goal, just over the bar. Lovely turn there. I thought he lost it in his feet at first, then his second touch was absolutely excellent to get it out of his feet. Went for a strike. Azaz he passed it into him, but I thought it fizzed into him a little bit, and that had Christian Walton stretching with every inch he had there.
Yeah, good centre forward play there. It was not a hospital pass, but not a great one into him, and he did well in that sort of half space between the right back and the centre back to get it under control and get himself a yard or so of space and curl that shot into the top right, or towards the top right corner. Nothing going this time, but it's promising early signs for Larin.
It is another player coming in for the weekend's clash. It was Stewart who led the line, defensive 5-4-1 seemingly, but they seem back to the 4-2-3-1 and Larin leading the line. Ipswich Neil into the feet of Philogene down the left hand side. He goes down the byline, fizzes one in, defends away off over Abri, well defended there by the fullback. as Charlie spoke about Kieran McKenna, 222 games, this is his 223rd, 105 wins, 60 draws and 57 losses, so not a shabby record for the Northern Irishman. On his birthday as well, 4 years old in about 2-3 weeks, so I mean he'll be hoping to be celebrating an automatic promotion as well with that birthday. Attacking first contacts from corners most of the season, Dara O'Shea on 37, so I wonder where this in-swinging corner from the near side is going from Nunes. Into the back post it goes, it was for the head of O'Shea, cleared well, and Villaging tries to nod it back into a dangerous area. Creates his ball though, it's hoofed away by Wood, and Ipswich will get possession once again. Of course in this game so far, looking at the stats, we've had 3 shots as a whole, 2 for the visitors, 1 on target of course was that early one. The shot that just went live from Larin was the only shot so far for the Saints. Nunes, lovely turn, and he plays that wide to Burns on the right hand side. Furlong's made an underlapping run, Burns swings one into the box, too high and too central, and into the welcoming arms there of Daniel Perez, and he'll welcome those all evening along. And again with the 5 changes, I mean Ipswich have such a depth of squad. To see for example Clark and Mehmeti coming out, McAtee basically the forward 3 in behind us on, that's been changed. Would you say that it's been strengthened, weakened? I'll bring Charlie in a moment. There's a ball over the top, Azon gets in behind the striker goal, never catches it cleanly, it does. The Spaniard easily saved there by Perez, again nearly a mistake costing Southampton at the back. For example, Burns in a comparison to a Clark, maybe Burns is a better, got more work rate, but there's more technical ability there with Clark. And do you think that just sums up though that, right, I've got 6 quality players I can play in behind my striker, it's just game to game of who I like and who it's going to be, because the depth is off the charts really for the Tractor Boys. Absolutely,
especially at this stage of the season as well, with games coming thick and fast and they're also important. I think, you know, McAtee scored a really important goal in that recent draw, but his stats over the whole course of the season aren't actually amazing, so you can understand the manager wanting to mix things up. But I think, yeah, he wouldn't have any of these players if he didn't rate them highly, and I think it's more just a case of fresh legs than anything.
100%. A lot of these players, well, of course, were, I don't know, Nunes has been signed and Neil has, but a lot of these were the players that went up with him or he brought in last year in the Premier League. I thought, for example, a Philogene signing, and this is no offence to Jadon Philogene, they signed him 2025 January. It was almost a sign that if we've got the money now, you're going to play a little bit for us in the Premier League, but you're one of the players who are going to get us back to the Premier League in the Championship, and he's been absolutely excellent for Kieran McKenna's side this season. 16.5 minutes on the clock. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich Town 0. They've just kicked off the 8 o'clock game in the Champions League in Paris. Mouth-watering semi-final there, both of them are. Let's be quite honest, PSG versus Bayern, that's just kicked off, and then tomorrow evening, really the only game of football, that's how at the back end of the season we are. Tomorrow evening the game is on this service, Atletico Madrid against Arsenal. 17 minutes here, and Southampton on the ball with Howard Bellis, looking to switch the play from right to left. He's got a lot on that, can it be kept in play? Yes it can. Played off the head of Furlong though, it will be a throw-in for the Saints on the left-hand side for Manning. And at the moment, are we just really waiting for the first big chance for either side to open this up maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very cagey one to begin with, probably understandably with so much riding on it. But as we've said, you know, Southampton are the ones that really need to force the issue here. One thing that came up while I was researching that surprised me for this game is just how many goals that back 4 of Southampton have been involved in this season. So Bree at right back has 4 goals, 5 assists in the Championship. Harwood Bellis has scored 6 times in the Championship and 2 assists. And then Manning, the left back, 7 goals, 5 assists. So I wonder if that's going to play a factor, whether they can get those wing backs almost up high up the pitch, and whether they can get corners that Harwood Bellis, the captain, can feast on.
Manning's got a great delivery as well, hasn't he, from, as you say, set pieces in play as well. A very important player there as Bree. I think he's just a real hard worker. He's a full back, very good player, can play midfield, I feel, as well. If it was needed, Ipswich with Nunes, heavy touch in the middle. Yander takes it away. Manning tries to play a ball down the left-hand side. Too much on it and blocked away out for a throw-in. Just inside the Saints half on the left-hand side. Manning will be the man to take it. But if he wasn't on set piece duty, he's on throwing duty all the time because they've always been on the left hand side. Jack Clark, Ipswich's top scorer this season with 15 goals, a former Sunderland and Leeds United man. Again, spoke about the depth. Well, you're not starting, it's not a bad player to bring off the bench, so at the same time if things maybe aren't going your way. Poor pass from Fellows, picked off by Greaves. Nice pass from Matthew Seaward, but it's picked off there and Southampton may come forward. Sienza down the left hand side, too much power on that from Azaz, but he will find it with the second attempt. The Brazilian has it on the left hand side, cutting, jinking inside, ball comes in, it's nodded away by O'Shea. Furlong will kick it long. It's on the only man up there, could do with a little bit of support. Southampton at the moment not controlling with chances, but on the ball they're just getting in a bit of a rhythm now. The Saints, Baggy's man Fellows on the ball. Charles, a lot of movement, a lot of fluidity in this side for Tonderecker. Wood, Aaron dropping even deeper. He's a level with the defensive midfielders. Back into Wood, he's put under a little bit of pressure. Manning gets there though, and Manning wins the ball into Larin. There's no one really central for Sienza. He's very wide, almost on the touchline, and in chalk on his boots. Is he just nibbled it there by Matisse, but yes, he is just brought down, clipped over. It will be a free kick for Southampton. 20 minutes on the clock. It's independent off-tube studio commentary for the action from St Mary's. It's Southampton 0, Ipswich Town 0. And it's not an easy position, this, but you spoke about set pieces. This is something where you will be looking at Manning and saying, we need a good ball from you here.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's the only chances you're going to get, which these first 20 minutes indicate might be the case, at least for the first half, then you really need to take them. I'm somewhat surprised the extent to which both teams seem to have the handbrake on here. We've already discussed how Southampton just need a win, but also, you know, Ipswich haven't got to this position playing like this, but you do sense that for them the nerves have really crept in the last couple of months. I guess Southampton just haven't really been in a position where they can be able to feel nervous.
I think he's spot on with that. Manning takes it, it's a good ball in. Larin with the header, it's on target, straight at the goalkeeper though, but that's what you spoke about. If you're Manning, and I'm not saying that Larin should score, but I think if you're Manning saying, you know what, that I've put a good ball into the box there, it's up to my teammates how many times do you see a cross come in, it's off the first man, and the players are almost moaning at the taker. It's a good header from Larin. It could be better, but that's a good delivery from the left back.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the game that I did on the weekend, Charlton versus Hull, was probably the worst game I've ever seen in terms of quality of delivery into the box. There was nothing like this on display apart from for one of the goals. Everything was hitting the first man. So I think, you know, you have to take these opportunities or at least test the goalkeeper a little bit more than that.
How many times with the first man, it's over. There's a creative short set piece that comes to nothing. When you've got a good delivery of the ball like Manning, just do that simply. Into Burns, he turns his man, driving forward, he's still going, strikes at a goal, it's just wide. He does so well, the turn is lovely from the Ipswich number 7. He's really his man. He's almost being a piggybacked. I want to say Jander, who's only been the entire time. He turns Manning beautifully. Then Manning, Shea Charles, apologies there, and he's just at him, he's at him. He goes for the shot, it's wide, it's a poor shot in the end. Could he have passed that into Azon, or should he just be doing better with the strike?
Yeah, maybe a bit better with the strike. I mean, it was brilliant wing play to begin with from the Welshman. Just that first touch has got him completely away, but also Charles, I think, did well to just get him off balance with a little playful shove that just meant he was always kind of just falling forwards a little bit as he struck the ball.
First time we've really seen Burns with a piece of play. Of course, he was out injured for basically a year. Was he the 31-year-old? But when they were in League One, he had such a fantastic season for Ipswich. It was the 22-23 season, 9 goals, 13 assists, and didn't do too shabby in the Championship. Never really got a run in the Premier League because of his injury, really. And similar this season, this will be his 19th appearance of the season, but I've always felt after such a big, I believe it was a knee injury, I want to say that he's just been, every player's going to find it hard the first 4 or 5 months to get back in a bit of a groove, but he's looking very good tonight. He wins a free kick there, clip to the heels by Yander. It feels like players like Burns are just getting into the game, and again, sometimes I said we need a chance or a goal to open the game. It's as cliche as it comes, but goals change games. but is that something by Burns doing that he goes, ooh, it's that one little thing that could change the game, where you get that chance, Southampton will open up and a bit of confidence can happen for a player?
Yeah, just someone to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I think it's either going to be that or a defensive mistake, and you'd probably rather, as a neutral, hope that we get a moment of brilliance from one of the attackers rather than the goalkeeper passing it straight out to an attacker, as we seem to see so often these days.
Such the want to need is maybe the best way to put it, of playing out from the back. Somebody managed committed to it, ball over the top, headed on. Philogene falls kindly for him and continues to go, strike a goal on his weaker left foot. I think it was going on target, it might have even just been trickling wide, but it's straight at Perex and it's saved well. So Ipswich starting to maybe get on top, but the wingers in Philogene and Burns are really starting to come to life and find some space and find some opportunities in this first half. Just over 24 minutes into the first half, just over halfway, give or take. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. It's Ipswich visiting St Mary's. It's Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Take us through to half-time. Pass you over to Charlie.
Thanks, Lewis. Ipswich trying to come on the attack again there, but the referee's blown up for a free kick for Southampton. It was Matasiwa, the CDM, who's been adjudged to have fouled. We're just seeing a replay of it here. He dives in with his right foot and he just gets the tiniest bit of contact, but he is behind Cienza, so you always expect the winger to go down in that situation. Just before that, they'd had another little opportunity of a break, but Azon, the striker, had tried to whip a ball over onto the right hand side for Burns to run onto, but was unsuccessful. And Southampton have got us back underway now with the ball pumped down the pitch and dealt with comfortably by Neil, and he'll get Ipswich on the go again. They are growing into this game now, and it's Azon, the striker, on this left-hand wing looking for support. Philogene's about to overlap him, but he cuts inside. Burns on the edge of the box, whips in a fantastic shot that looked like it was going to curl into the right corner, but then sort of bent back more than you expected and ended up going over the crossbar. I don't think there was any deflection, but Ipswich really hotting up now.
They are, and as you say, it's those players getting on the ball, isn't it? Like, so Burns warming up into the game. In the first 15 minutes or so, Philogene had a few touches, Burns really didn't. But yeah, it's curling, but it really takes a real whip, and it'd been interesting what Pretz would have done if that was on target, but Southampton off the ball.
Be interested to know how windy it is tonight. I mean, the weather across the country has been pretty spectacular, so I can't think it would be too bad, but that did seem like it got caught in something. Harwood Bellis now just dropping the ball into Azaz, who of course scored that goal of a lifetime against Man City in the FA Cup on the weekend. It was unfortunate really that it ended up counting for nothing. I mean, Nico Gonzalez's winner wasn't bad either, to be fair, was it? But he will be looking to replicate that, and also to put the sadness behind him and the whole team of falling so short against one of the best teams in the land. But in terms of this game, it's been a fairly slow start. The match stats say that it's been mostly Ipswich, 6 shots, 3 on target, but it doesn't really feel like they've had that many shots. They've not been clear-cut opportunities, but they're coming forward again here with Philogene doing well to wrestle off Charles and keep the ball, but that's a really poor pass to Manning, who gets Cienza going down on this left-hand side. He's got 2 men on him trying to dispossess him. It was O'Shea, the centre-back and captain, that took that task, and he did so well. Cienza wasn't happy. He felt a little bit of contact, but I think O'Shea did well there.
He did. Watching it back, my only question would be, is Cienza saying there's contact? No, he does really well there. Does O'Shea. If anything, I think maybe there's a tangling of legs, but you'd also have to say that Cienza's almost at fault as O'Shea is. That would be the worst of it. I thought he made the worst decision trying to go down the byline. Maybe should have played it into Larin. Maybe should have switched a player. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing in the world to do, but there was a mistake there, and you've got to pounce on those mistakes. As you said, we want to see a piece of brilliance from an attacking player, but as an attacking player, you've got to take advantage when something falls for you. Southampton coming forward again. Yeah,
absolutely. Cienza having a decent season, to be fair. He's got 7 goals, 1 assist. The Brazilian played most of his career in Germany up until this point, but has made the move to English football and has acquitted himself well so far in his first year. Ipswich with Matasiwa, who's under no real pressure in the middle of the park, so he's just ambling forwards, finds his attacking midfielder Nunes, who plays it back to Burns. He finds Furlong and then O'Shea and Greaves. So just a bit of passing practice really for Ipswich at the minute. Southampton happy to sit back. I think they're just happy not to be counter-attacked by Ipswich, because that seems to be where all the danger's coming from. In possession, not so much, but Fellows with some brilliant work there to brush off Philogene and try and get Southampton going. He finds Wood, who passes to Manning on the left-hand side. Wood now with it was quite a tricky ball forward actually, but it was brilliantly controlled by Azaz, and he gets Larin going, and Larin would take the shot. He just gets blocked in the nick of time by O'Shea. That was sharp work from Southampton there, and he almost got a shot away, Larin.
I thought it was really good play from Larin at first, and I thought he's going to go with O'Shea, he's going to take it past him, and he does, and then he almost takes that long to take the shot and pull his leg back and go for it. He allows O'Shea to get back. Southampton here to come again. Yeah,
Ipswich have given the ball away from the goal kick, or from the goalkeeper, as we were discussing, and Southampton looking to be patient here and get the bodies forward. Fellows plays a cute pass inside, and then it's back out to Charles on this right hand side. He whips a ball into the back post, but Walton is decisive in coming and grabs that one, and Ipswich live to fight another day.
They do. Again, that's another mistake with, I mean, Ipswich made that mistake, but when they play out from the back, they've got that many players there. At the moment, it's almost their back four, the two defensive midfielders, and the rest of that front four is forward, stretching the midfield. So if they do lose the ball, they've got enough players at the back to quickly help out and counter press and win it. They play a nice ball to Philogene, and here they come.
Yeah, Philogene wandering inside, and he found Nunes, who tried to play a pass. It bounced off the defender and straight back in his path, and he tries to clip a cute ball over to Azon, his strike partner, but is unable to do so. And Southampton come away with it down the left hand side, with Manning looking to swing a ball into Larin. It's more good centre forward play, but Greaves is there nipping at his heels. They end up back in the Southampton half, does the Ipswich centre back, and he gives away a foul. Southampton, noticing he's out of position, want to play quickly. Well, he was still remonstrating with the referee, but they're able to clear the ball out, Ipswich, for the time being. Port Vale are 2-0 up against Stockport. Now that's somewhat of a surprise. All of the games currently goalless. Be very intrigued to know what's going on in that PSG Bayern game. I think if this wasn't such a mouth-watering championship prospect, I think we'd be a little bit more frustrated about missing that clash. Obviously, PSG and Bayern have been by far the two most watchable teams in the Champions League this season. And Arsenal Atletico, I'm sure, will still be a fantastic game tomorrow night as well, but you do think the pure football is probably going to be happening as we speak. But in terms of championship action, we're at this crucial clash, or commentating on this crucial clash, which is at the St Mary's, and it's Southampton Ipswich. It's goalless after 31.5 minutes. Southampton are the team in possession with a throw-in on this left-hand side, which Manning is taking his time over because he doesn't feel that he's got sufficient options. He does try and launch it into the edge of the box and is unsuccessful. Ipswich managed to get it away, and once again they're trying to release Philogene down the left-hand side. He has to go up for a 50-50 header with Bree. I thought he did fairly well, but the referee has adjudged that there was a little bit of elbow or hand contact there on Bree, and he's pulled it back for a free kick just inside the halfway circle. And Southampton once again taking the time over this. They clearly feel that there's not enough movement in front of them.
Yeah, I don't mind it taking it slow, but I just think your attackers make that run, and then I'm not saying Howard Bellis has got to ping it forward to Cienza, for example, but then it's harder to make that run back, isn't it? You've just got to play the ball sometimes. I will say, when they're dropping in deep, they're playing some good stuff. Nice ball out to Manning. Here come the Saints. Yeah,
Manning looks like he's whipping a ball in early, and that was his attempt, but quite calamitous really. He slipped with his trailing leg as he went to whip that early cross in and managed to kick it against himself. But I think he did somehow manage to win a throw-in from that situation, so it could be worse. And it's Manning himself that's going to take it. He gets it out to Yander, who finds Manning again. He does get that cross in, and it does bounce tantalisingly in the box, but also at a perfect height for O'Shea to just get his right boot through it and get it out about 40 yards down pitch for another Southampton throw. And once again Manning to take, and this time he has managed to find someone in space. That's Zaz in the centre of the park, who sweeps a first time ball out to Fellows, who's standing up. Leif Davis on this left hand side, cuts inside, gets past 2 men, but it's sort of in a sideways direction more than anything, and passes to Charles. And they're working it over back to this left hand side with Cienza. And the ball is whipped in now. Larin lost his footing as the ball went in, so he wasn't able to challenge for it. It's with Azaz now. It gets his shot away. Leif Davis with a fantastic block, getting low down to stop that one from heading towards goal. It's Azaz again who chests down and looks to take a first time shot on the volley, but is unable to do so. This is brilliant play though by Southampton. They're keeping it alive. That was fantastic by Fellows, manages to keep that attack going and wins a corner for his side.
That was fantastic, as you say, from Fellows there. He turns his man and he's right on the byline for the ball. I thought he'd let it go. I thought he had too much on it, but he put it through the legs of the Ipswich defender. And it was also, well, he forced the corner as well, so he's top-notch play from the former Baggies man. And you've already spoke about the back four getting involved in goals and assists. I can assume with Manning to take. I'll assume you've already spoken about Howard Bellis with his goal scoring attributes. I'm sure big on the skipper's head this one coming in.
Absolutely. And it is indeed Manning coming out to this right hand side to take a left footed in swinger. Ipswich defending their 6-yard box in numbers. It's a little bit too far towards the back post, and Larin can only knock it towards one of the defenders, and Southampton tried to recycle possession but give the ball away, and Ipswich are on the break here. It's Philogene coming forward, and then he slips, and then Nunes slips next to him. Southampton did well to defend that really. It looked like it could get dangerous, but they got the numbers back in time, and now there's another slip there. I wonder if they've just overwatered the pitch a little bit, because bodies are starting to drop here.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe some stunts at half time need to be changed. I'm not too sure, but right, well, Philogene, Nunes and then Yanda within 20 seconds of each other that all went down. It was a great tackle from Yanda to stop the counter-attack as well, but Ipswich coming forward again. Yeah,
Philogene on this left-hand side tries to whip the ball in, but it's off Bree and deflects over for a corner kick. Southampton have won just one of their last 6 games against Ipswich in the league, and it was actually a 2-1 away win in the Premier League last season, but we've already discussed the fact that from their point of view winning is the only option tonight if they want to retain any hope of getting automatic promotion. Ipswich, however, are unbeaten in their last 5 away league games against Southampton, although 4 of those have ended level. But as we say, a draw for Ipswich would probably satisfy them tonight. It would leave them the front runners for automatic promotion, although it would mean Middlesbrough and Millwall were still in with a shout. That corner comes in. It's a unconvincing punch away from Peretz, but then Philogene tried to curl the ball into the back post and there was no one there. It's a little bit overhit, and it's going to be a Southampton goal kick.
Yeah, Peretz, he almost comes out. I think it's Burns he's battling with, and as you say, he just doesn't come out with a lot of conviction that he's going to do much with that. I think he's quite lucky that if he doesn't fall kinder for Philogene, because if he does, he probably takes a touch and has a go at goal. So that's always an opportunity. But at the moment, Southampton are on top. But what I like about this Ipswich squad, which Kieran McKenna's built very just meticulously, when they're on top, they've got players who can play in possession. The 2 of the M's, the centre backs are very good, the wingers are good. But if they need to sit back and just hold off and defend, the side can do that. They've just got well-rounded players. So yes, they're under the cosh for a bit right now, but the team can handle that. And then when they're back on top as well, the team can handle both. Yeah,
we've just got a little stoppage here for someone receiving treatment. I think it's Davis on that right-hand side. No, it's Burns, sorry, for Ipswich. Just looked like he got a bit of a sore one there, but he's up on his knees, just getting a bit of breath in. Let's update you on some scores in the meantime. Barnsley have taken the lead against Northampton. They're away, so that's a good goal for them. It's for Cleary. And Bayern have taken the lead against PSG. Harry Kane penalty. Who else? So all eyes, or many eyes I'm sure, will be on that game. Even those of you who are listening in with us on this unofficial off-tube studio commentary, I'm sure will be intrigued to know what's happening in Paris, as Ipswich come forward again with Burns down the right hand side, lays it off to Furlong, but he is dispossessed by a combination of Cienza and Manning once more, as he has done pretty much every time he gets the ball in the defensive third, just launched it forwards. It's clearly a game plan from Southampton, and they do get possession under control for now, with Charles looking to take the sting out of things and just finding his centre midfield partner Yander. It's back now with Wood on the left hand side of Southampton's defence. Ipswich are committing a few more bodies forwards. There's 5 men on our screens inside the Southampton half, well inside, looking to press, but Southampton deal with it well and launch a ball forward to Cienza, who is frustrated at play being pulled back. He feels that he wanted to continue, whether it was a foul against him or for him, I'm not quite sure, but he wasn't happy either way. I think, yeah, it was against him, but he wanted advantage and the referee didn't give it, and he's more angry than Burns, who gave away the free kick, about that free kick being awarded.
Yeah, he wanted to have a bit more of a run then at Ali's man, didn't he? He wants to get away from Burns, and I mean, I feel for a referee, because if he probably plays the advantage there and he plays another 3 or 4 seconds, you can't pull it back because it's gone too far, and Cienza will probably blow up at him and go, where's my free kick? So the ref probably can't win in that situation. But look, yes, Cienza will have wanted to run at his man, but Manning has got another opportunity in a set piece.
Yeah, this one's even deeper though, but he does manage to get a good ball in, and Furlong rises highest to clear it, but it's only half away. It's still bouncing around in the box, and O'Shea once more couldn't get rid of it, and then shot comes in from a Southampton player, and they're all running straight over to the referee saying handball. It seems in fairly good spirits as they're laughing with him, but I think they all thought there was something going there. It was Furlong. The ball bounced up off the floor into his left hand, admittedly, but it was against his body, protruding ever so slightly. What do you make of that one?
It's a close one. I think if this was VAR, we'd probably definitely have a look at it. I don't think there's enough to say again in the VAR world that would be overturned. So I think credit to the referee with again how quick fire it came in. Comes off the hand of Phil, but as you say, it's right on his stomach. He can't do much more.
Corners whipped in. Harwood, Berison, Larin, the clear targets, but it goes over both of their heads, and Walton not quite able to get 2 hands on it, but he does enough to claw the ball away and out for a Southampton throw-in, so they will continue the pressure. There's 2 balls on the pitch briefly, and Philogene doesn't make too much of a hurry to kick the second one out as his teammates get back into position. It looks like being Bree who's going to take it, shaping up for a slightly longer one. There's no teammates too close for him, and it is indeed in towards Larin on the edge of the box. He's got 3 men around him, and that was always a little bit ambitious for him to try and wriggle out of that one, and as a result loses the ball, and then Manning with some smart play to get himself in front of Burns and then win the free kick.
Yeah, it's been a good battle between those 2, Burns and Manning, hasn't it? Burns tracking back and Manning tracking back as he would. If anything, we've seen very little Furlong and Cienza battling, really, haven't we? The last 10 minutes, it's been all Southampton, really. 80% possession, 3 shots, not on target, unfortunately, but a few of them have been blocked as well, it has to be said. They're growing into the game, but whilst it's 0-0, I think Ipswich would be quite happy. They've won the ball here coming forward.
Yeah, Leif Davis snatched in there and drove forward. He finds Philogene, who cuts inside to Greaves, who's coming quite far forward for a centre-back, really, as Ipswich look to try and turn the tables on Southampton. Then they whip the ball in, and it's not quite met on the header, and Southampton able to get it away for the time being, but the ball's still bouncing around. No team getting proper possession of it, and still it's changing hands. It's Matasiwa who manages to get control of it, and here come Ipswich again with Nunes on the right hand side of the box. He finds Byrne, whips the ball in towards the back post. Philogene is unmarked, but it's a little bit too far over his head to get contact on it, so it just loops up in the air towards Leif Davis, who will look to keep the attack going. It's Matasiwa again out onto this right hand side, finds Burns looking to repeat the dose and whip the ball in again. That's another good delivery. Not sure who rose for that one, but once more it just wasn't the quite contact required in that situation. Greaves, I'm getting deja vu here, because Greaves finds Matasiwa, and once more he's looking to keep the attack going. This time, instead of finding Burns, he looks to dance past a couple, and Azaz concedes the foul, and it's a free kick in a dangerous area for Ipswich.
It is. I wonder if I might go for goal here, just to maybe text the goalkeeper, just have a shot at goal. But as I say, those Ipswich crosses I thought were absolutely fantastic. It was just well defended by Southampton at the end of the day. There were some good deliveries, as you say, a couple in there. Philogene, if that's I know Philogene's a winger, so you'll play number and a striker out on the wing, but if that is falling kindly for a real out-and-out number 9, he's probably getting a shot on target there. Well, see, it's an awkward one here, isn't it? Nunes and Davis are over it. He's probably a little bit too close in to really whip one in like Malling's done for a few free kicks. He's also maybe a little bit too far out to really say go for goal here. He's in that real in-between mark, but the left boot of Davis is up and the right boot of Nunes as well.
Yep, Davis is going to whip it in towards the back post, and that was a smart play. It was O'Shea on the far side who looked to peel off his man and just get that back into the danger area, but it was a centre-back's touch really, and he ended up clearing it out by accident, maybe force of habit.
Yeah, it was that there. Just clear it away. Always in the back. Oh no, I'm in the attacking box. You're right there. I think if that's a little bit higher and he's on his head, put it back in the box. That's his more stronger point. But you're right, and I think he's a little bit stretching, the tiniest bit. So he doesn't get the nicest connection on it as well. But every corner, if you are, there's real no need for set piece coaches of how to defend for either of these sides. Because if Ipswich have a corner, defend O'Shea. Just do that. For Southampton, defend Howard Bellis, because they're the targets of every set piece.
PSG have equalised in Paris with Farch Kelly getting the goal. That's hotting up to be the tie that we all expected it to be in terms of our other games in English football tonight. There's no more goals to report to you. Peterborough and Mansfield still goalless, as is this game between Southampton and Ipswich, which probably isn't living up to the billing quite yet as such a crucial game in the hunt for promotion to the Premier League, and that's reflected in the fact that there's just the 1 minute added time so far. 16 fouls committed in this first half as well, but the referee Thomas Kirk has kept his cards in his pocket thus far. Southampton coming forward for one more attack. Howard Bellis looking to whip an early ball in, and it drops to Larin. He tries to get the shot away. Azaz, he gets a shot in and it's blocked and then loops high in the air. Cienza's trying to get on the end of it. That was a nervy passage of play for Ipswich there. They just couldn't seem to quite get the ball away.
Well, they couldn't. It's a decent ball in. Azaz Furlong, it's not a penalty or anything like that, but my word is it's very silly from Furlong to jump up in the air, because you're asking for trouble really. Felt a little bit sorry for Larry. It's a good first touch. He just can't get out of his feet. It's a lovely first touch of a fake onto his left, but unfortunately, because he doesn't touch the ball just almost stops his left foot, so there's no momentum on it. And then with his left foot, it's just almost caught underneath his feet, and he struck away. Whether if that's a bit more momentum on the ball, I think it's a strike on his weak left, and probably test the goalkeeper. Also, Howard Bellis, the skipper, he's not happy about something. Yeah,
speaking of testing the goalkeeper, I think Howard Bellis is testing the referee's patience there. I think we can't hear what they're saying, but we saw the referee do a kind of chatting motion with his hand saying, stop that talk or you'll be going in the book. But that is it for what has been a cagey first half in this crucial game at St Mary's. It's Southampton 0, Ipswich 0.
Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, well really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Nil, both sides. You can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was untangled over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, not really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, or really to confirm without confirming their automatic places, whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target over Southampton, But after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, but really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas Southampton, they've kept it in. The best chances falling for Burns outside the area of a strike. Larin's headed effort was on target for Southampton, but after the first 45, it is goalless. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's currently goalless between the two sides. It is Southampton 0, Ipswich 0. Both sides, you can feel the tension in the stadium this evening, as it's also important for Ipswich to win, but really to confirm without confirming their automatic places. Whereas and it is a warm welcome back to this evening's independent off-tube studio commentary of all the action from St Mary's as Southampton host Ipswich Town in the final game, the penultimate game I should say, the final game at home for Southampton this season. Interesting first half, a few chances for either side, but you can really feel the tension at St Mary's this evening. At the moment, as I say, goalless. A few chances falling for either side. Burns with a lovely turn and touch. His strike was wide of the target, though. Southampton, their best chance falling for Larin from a header just inside the area here. Combe, Ipswich ball into the box. It's nodded on. It'll fall kindly for Burns. He takes a touch. Strike at goal! And the Welshman gives the Tractor Boys an early lead in the second half. What a start to the half for Ipswich Town. It's a goal that they've wanted and needed if they want to almost confirm their return, automatic return to the Premier League. That away end goes absolutely bonkers, and it's a man we spoke about in the first half, coming back from injury. He was so pivotal in their promotion from League One to the Championship, from the Championship to the Premier League. Had a massive injury, out for almost a year was the Welshman, give or take, but he's come up at the right time. We spoke as well, will it be a mistake at the back? It was good pressing from Azon. Even Greaves was up there as well. But it fell kindly for the 31-year-old, and he smashed it home. Nothing Perez could do. And these Southampton 0, Ipswich Town 1. Independent off-tube studio commentary for all the action from St Mary's. We've had such a fast start. It's myself, Lewis Raftery, joined by Charlie O'Brien. Thank you for the entirety of the second half. Perez even gets a finger to it, but I think there's that much power on it, there's nothing he can do. And as I say, Charlie, just I'm trying to introduce the second half. It's absolutely a fantastic second half start. Ipswich, that's the goal they wanted. It's about how does Southampton respond now.
Absolutely, that's a brilliant goal from Burns. He was probably the best player on the pitch in the first half, as we've just seen another goal update from a certain game elsewhere. But back to this game, and it's really livened up with that goal. Yeah, Burns absolutely deserved a goal from his first half contribution, and as you say, deserves it more than anyone really, having been so instrumental in those two promotions and then missing out on his chance at the big time. He looks like a man who's ready for the Premier League, and he may have scored the goal that will all but get Ipswich back there at the first time of asking.
Spot that. It's only his second goal of the season. A goal in late December in a 2-0 win against Coventry. So what a moment it is for the winger. It was very lively in the first half, and what a goal that is to start the second half with. Looking at the two lineups, I don't believe there were any changes in the half-time break. So quickly, the lineups that Southampton have it in the middle. Perez is in goal for the Saints. Back four of Bree, Skipper, Howard, Bellis, Wood and Manning. Duo in the middle of Charles and Yander, with fellows Azad Cienza supporting Larin. Ball over the top for Ipswich offside there. Ball from Walton, who is in goal for the Tractor Boys. Just too much on it at that time. Watching back a chance from Larin a few moments ago as well. It was a decent effort in there, but Burns' strike. Yes, Perez gets a touch on it, but so powerful it was hit. No chance there for the goalkeeper. So for Ipswich, it is Walton in goal. Back four of Furlong, Skipper O'Shea, Greaves and Davies. Matu Seawer and Neal, the two holders. Goal scorer Burns, Nunez and Philogene. Supporting cast for Azon for the Tractor Boys. The ball at the back with Matu Seawer. And it's already Southampton making a mistake for the goal. Again, how do How do they respond? Of course, Ipswich, I don't think they're going to sit back. I don't think they're going to go for everything and empty the kitchen sink and go for a second. Tom Eckert, you wouldn't think his team are 1-0 up or 1-0 down. That's a poor pass out, picked up by Charles, but Ipswich have got bodies back out to Cienza. Cuts inside on his favoured right boot. His body checked there by Nunes. A bit soft possibly, but it was always going to be a foul, and this is dangerous for Southampton now. Manning might take, I don't know if it suits a left footer or a right footer. It's probably on the left hand side, maybe 22, 24 yards out, give or take. But this would be a great response and a great time for an equaliser for Southampton.
Yeah, they need to get back into the game really. I think Ipswich, that goal's really put the cat amongst the pigeons and left Southampton, really needing to chase this game. They're in such a good run of form. They're not out of it. As we're seeing pictures of Matt Letizia with his head in his hands up in the stands. 209 goals and 540 appearances for Southampton. I'm sure they wouldn't mind subbing him on, but they've got plenty of firepower on the pitch and on the bench, and it does look like it's going to be Cienza who's going to try and whip this one in with his right foot.
Man who won it looks like a bit of the man to take it. Cienza steps up off the wall. Will it go out for a corner? Walton tries to keep it in play. It was cleared away awkwardly. Half of the Southampton team wants a corner. The referee, it was quite half-hearted, didn't seem very confident they were asking for that one. So Walton throws it out long. Mistake there, but mistake at the back there for Ipswich, but come over the ball. Burns again. There's a bit more openness and freedom and fluidity to the second half. Of course, it's very cliche, but goals do change games. Southampton will have to open up. I'm sure Ipswich will think, right, we've got a 1-0 lead. Let's just keep maybe the ball. Let's try and control this game for a little bit now. Greaves over the top for Davies. Lovely first touch. Nearly falls for Azon. It doesn't, but he gets the ball back to the edge of the area. Strike comes in from Neil. Blocked away on as far as Cienza. Tries to flick it over his defender, but it's well held there by Greaves and back to O'Shea. Ipswich have the ball, but again, there's just that a little bit more urgency from both teams. The press is just a little bit more on. There's not enough room in the first half in midfield. I thought a player could take a touch and get the head up and have a look. In the second half, there's heavy touches. That's a big tackle coming in there from Fellows, but I think he does get the ball. He does. So out for a throw-in for the Tractor Boys. But even there, the ball didn't fall for Azon, but it was just his work rate. He wanted the ball. He wouldn't be denied not coming away with the ball. Neil's strike again blocks away. But again, there just seems to be more urgency from both sides now.
Yeah, Azon in particular, I didn't really mention, as I wanted to, how brilliant he was for that first goal. Chasing a lost cause, really managed to head it up in the air and then stick out a boot and just actually play a really nice cross box pass, really, just with the outside of his toe. And then once more he was on it again a minute ago there. And I tell you what, there was actually a little bit of contact, I think, from the defender. But Azon, to his credit, just kind of like put one hand on the ground to steady himself and then tried to carry on. But I think, if he'd have flung himself down, then you never know what the referees might give these days.
No, I think you're right. I think the problem there, Azon, he's a great presser. Maybe he's finishing, for example. Hurst is on the bench. I think if you molded those two together, you'd get a top striker. But maybe they both lack the qualities that the other have, don't they, unfortunately. And I think that's been a problem for Kieran McKenna this season. Long ball forward for Larry, who doesn't win the first ball, but Southampton win the second. And now Ipswich have committed bodies forward, so Cienza's going to fly forward. He's got runners, plays it into the box for Azaz. Strike comes in, blocked away off of Greaves. He's absolutely furious. He believes it came a double kiss almost with a tackle going in, the touch back off the Brazilian. The ball in there though, Azaz with the strike. It does come back off the Saints forward, watching a replay back. I will say, to give the referee credit, in the game that's very hard to see because you can't see that, but it will be a corner. Charlie in the first half rightfully spoke about the goals coming from the back four for Southampton. Canal with belly Santa Wiz, Cienza ball into the box, falls on the edge of the area for Azaz. Doesn't go for the strike, plays it back to Yanda. He'll switch it back out to Cienza on the left hand side. He's on an overlapping Fellows, but he takes it past Philogene with ease. That's a poor ball into the box. Clearance isn't that good though from Matu Siwa. He's trying to be brought out of the back there by Nunes. Takes a few heavy touches. Cienza plays it off him for a throw-in. Quickly taken by the Brazilian. Manning driving forward. Nice pass, reverse. A blind one out to Cienza. He's got a lot of bodies in that penalty area. The likes of Larin. Fellows is up there as well. 1-2 with Charles. Now Sienza on his favourite boot will put a good curling one in. Header goes away and cleared by Greaves and further away by Neil. Falls on the edge of the area for Azaz. That's a big tackle. Strike comes in. It's blocked away for a corner. But I do believe the free kick's going to be given. It was right on the edge of the area. Manning can't believe it. We're just waiting for full confirmation. The referee this evening is Thomas Kirk. I want to say he's given the free kick on the edge of the area. It was a big tackle coming in. He played advantage for the strike to come in from Fellows. It was deflected away for a corner. As far as I'm concerned, it should be a Southampton set piece. Either way, it's a lovely fake by Azaz. Big tackle coming in there from Greaves. Ooh, it's a big one there. And the referee hasn't given anything, for example, a yellow card or anything at the moment. We're still waiting. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. I believe he has given the free kick and a yellow card for Greaves. I think that's the right decision, personally.
Absolutely, yeah. He came in with 2 feet and was very lucky. He didn't get the ball, but he was lucky to not get more of the man, and he was right on the edge of his own box as well. So, yeah, I don't think you can have too many complaints with that one, Greaves. But this game is really hotting up now in the second half. Southampton fired up by that goal. We're thinking about ways that they can get themselves back into the game. I think one way in which Ipswich are looking a little bit weak is that they're being a little bit casual at the back. As Matasiwa, you're right to point out, is particularly bad for it. I mean, when it comes off and he manages to beat 1 or 2 men and get out that way, it's great to watch. But he is a little bit casual for a CDM on the ball, and they've come close to giving it away in a dangerous position a few times already this half.
Yeah, it's that risk versus reward, isn't it? And most of the time it's been a risk. This evening. Free kick for Manning. It's only a couple yards outside of the penalty area. A little bit to the right off of being central. Manning takes it, and it goes through the wall, and it goes through the keeper almost. Walton dives, but the deflection coming through into him means he can do nothing about it. And Ryan Manning, I remember covering them on the first game of the season. He's got a wonderful free kick against Wrexham. This one wasn't as wonderful. It will go down as his goal. Will go down as a mistake from Walton, and the wall to boot as well. What an opening close to 15 minutes we've got here. We'll watch it back. I think it's off Matasiwa possibly. We'll see a few more replays, but that puts Walton off again. It's unfortunate. It's poor keeping, but it's unfortunate goalkeeping as well. It is off the defensive midfielder, and then Walton already diving, does his best to help, but it just takes a deflection off his left knee and into the back of the net. And Ipswich held the lead for a short time. Southampton are back into it. Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what Matasiwa was doing there, because despite not actually being part of the 4-man wall, he still jumped as if he was, and that meant when the ball came right to him, he was in no position to just... If he'd just held his ground, he could have maybe kneed that away or just tried to get his body behind it. But because he was already jumping, he tried to almost just do like a star jump in the air, get that right foot onto it, and that caused the deflection, which led to it going in. I think Walton may have had it covered otherwise, so just after pointing him out as maybe having a mistake in him in Matasiwa, I think we've just seen one there, but maybe not the one we were expecting.
Now Southampton coming forward once again. This game, as Charlie mentioned, has opened wide coming into the second half. Ball forward, confusion at the back, nearly falls for Larin. Strike is blocked away. The Ipswich play it long forward. My word, this is a completely different 15 minutes to the first 45. Ipswich, ball forward, Burns on the edge of the area. He's going to go for a strike. It was quite similar in the first half, where he just got a little bit over it, dragged it wide, and out for a goal kick. But as I say, 60 minutes, we're about to tick over at St Mary's. Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1. First 45 where tensions was high, but it's as cliche as it comes. But look, goals change games. That's exactly what Wes Burns' 48th minute strike did. The 10 minutes ensuing after that was quite open. Ipswich nearly had a chance from Neil, and they fell kind of, but a big tackle coming in from Jacob Greaves. Hilakali just a few minutes ago for that set up Ryan Manning for a strike at goal. Again, as Charlie did say, it looks like the keeper had it covered, but Matasiwa, poor piece of play trying to deflect it. Quite a lazy leg. It was kept out and it went over the goalkeeper, and we're just as we started really. It is one apiece. We are level. Ball will go out of play. I do believe there's a player down. Looks like it's Larin, and looks like it might be a head injury. That's why the referee this evening, Thomas Kirk, has brought a halt to the game. I would like to see it back, because as well for me, I think Walton's got it covered. I agree with you. I'd like to see maybe more from behind the goal. We usually see a camera off, but I'd also like to see that if I'm Walton, it looks like to me Matasiwa was almost in front of the keeper and would also be putting his eyesight off it a little bit, and his eye line of it. So it's very, to me, very confusing. We're seeing back the tackle from Greaves. It's not a penalty. I think that's what Southampton maybe are asking for. We're seeing the free kick back. You say, might see where he jumps on like a karate kick, as you say, like a star jump, but his arms are behind his back. You're correct with that. At first I thought it was a fault from the goalkeeper. He does his best to almost stand back up, doesn't he? And that will go down as a mistake from the defensive midfielder.
Absolutely, but also, yeah, if you're saying he's in a position that's blocking Walton, then there's surely only one man on the pitch who told him to stand there. So I think keepers, unfortunately, always have to take a little bit of responsibility as well if there's an issue with their defence or their wall from a free kick. But yeah, it was just a bizarre one. I can't ever remember seeing a goal exactly like that, really, and it's just a bit of a defensive lapse in general. It's been a great 15 minutes overall, though. I think can only imagine that both teams at half-time were doing what we were doing and tuning into that last 15 minutes of the Bayern PSG game, and they've come out inspired. That has been a crazy one, 3-2 at half-time. I'm still checking the score every few seconds, even though it's half-time. I still feel like there's going to be another goal any minute.
Get your heart out, Paris. Bayern, we've got this one, and this is just as good in the second half. Ball forward, Philogene takes a strike at goal, and he's a whisker wide. Round of applause coming from Kieran McKenna. Oh my word, that would have rivaled the Michael Elise strike we saw at half-time. Unfortunately, he's just always curling away from the target.
Yeah, it was a true strike though, but if it was completely straight, it would have been rattling into that stanchion, I think. But yeah, brilliant from Philogene. I think he had a decent first half, getting a lot on the ball. It seems to be that most of Ipswich attacks go down the left-hand side. It's unsurprising with how influential Philogene and Leif Davis are, but I think Philogene needs to do a little bit more of that in the second half. I think in the first half there was a bit too much of him cutting inside and just finding easy passes. I think he needs license now. Kieran McKenna just needs to say, go and take on your man and get your shot away.
I agree with that. And here comes Southampton now. Cienza going to cut inside. Might go for a strike himself. He does! It's not far wide. I think if someone gets on the end of that, he's saying that was a ball into the box. It was one of them that he's actually not hitting that sweetly. He has almost that curling cross effort, and it really picks up some pace. It is wide, but considering how we see it from a broadcast, it looks like we're going to wrap around. And you do think that if that's a little bit under hit, that probably does find the back of the net. But I think you're right about Philogene. That's what I was about to say about Cienza there. When you always cut inside on your favoured boot, it's easy for a defender because you almost give them the space on the byline. Philogene's done that now, he's taken that run, so now next time, if you're Brie, you've got to respect it a bit more, which then will open up space for his favoured right boot to cut inside. Yeah,
exactly, and if you're a one-dimensional player and they know what you're going to do, then that hampers you. There's only a few players really that can get away with that, and one of them probably is Michael Elise, and the other one was Ian Robin before him. If you are just going to do the same thing every time, you just need to be so good at it that it doesn't matter whether people know what's coming. But I think if you're a championship level winger, you need to have more variation to your game.
No, you spot there very similar. You're right there. You know what Robin's going to do. Who can stop him? Absolutely no one. So you're right. If Philogene has that in his bag, I've seen him cutting times many a times on his favourite right and put it in the top corner. But when you do that every time, you get doubled up on. You maybe need an overlapping run from your fullback. Maybe that's why he's on the left with Leif Davis this evening. Not too sure, but as Charlie said, we did see a stat earlier on in the game, attacking areas. I think it was 60, maybe closing on 70% on the left-hand side for Ipswich, because that's how heavy left-sided they are. Nice run from Azaz, picks out a ball for Manning on the left-hand side. As I said, this game has just come to life, as Charlie mentioned as well, in the second half. Yander, Manning's got a lot of space if he can find him. He looks for him, because there was Burns in front of him, he almost has to dink it and fizz it into him, so it's not the easiest of passes, but Manning would have been in a world of space there. Good opportunity. 65 minutes on the clock. It is still one apiece. Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1. Just a quick update elsewhere in League 1. The other game on this service this evening, along with the Champions League clash, Barnsley are 1-0 up against Northampton. It's goalless between Peterborough and Mansfield, and Potwell are 2-0 up against Stockport. And in the National League playoffs, Scunthorpe are still 1-0 up against Southend. As Charlie said, we were watching the last 15 minutes of the first half while we were at half-time of the Paris-Bayern Munich game, and we saw some fantastic goals from the likes of Jean Neves and Michael Elise. There was a goal, a third one from the penalty spot. Usman Dembele has made it 3-2 to the holding, defending Champions League champions, if you will. Ball on the right-hand side. He's crossed in. Cienza keeps it alive into Charles, gets a strike, it just goes wide there. And I think his only problem is sometimes we say, oh, they're leaning over it, he's leaning back. Unfortunately, I think as he goes for it, he's just leaning back a little bit and he almost gets underneath it and slices it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, but both teams happy to get their shots away in the second half. It's a real change from what we saw in the first half as Ipswich ready a couple of substitutions. Probably a good idea to freshen them up. They've got 33 points from the last 22 away games this season, which I think is only about the 7th best in the league. You know, this run's been more built on their home dominance, but about 1.5 points a game, and I think they would happily settle for this point right now, although the attacking nature of these substitutions that we're about to see maybe doesn't quite reflect that.
No, you think you're right with that. It looks like it will be the two wingers as well. So the goal scorer Burns is going to be coming off, as well as Philogene and McAteer and Clark will be coming on. So for the 5 changes coming into this game, well, 2 of them have been reversed basically. So Burns and Philogene off, McAteer and Clark on. Imagine McAteer will go to the right and Clark will play on his more favoured left hand side. But Charlie was speaking about looking at the records away from home and such. You're spot on. As ball comes in, will it be kept in play by Manning? He'll do well. No, he won't. I think he wants to keep it in play, but that did just trickle out there. Look at the home records of both. Ipswich are second in the table, home records alone, only 3 points better off than Southampton, but away from home, to be in this position, you'd still be quite good away from home, but they do drop closer to the bottom end of the playoffs, closer to mid-table as well, so that shows where the drop-off is really for both teams, is their away from home performances. Yander to Cienza. Looks like the Saints were preparing a substitution as well just a few moments ago, but they're on the ball now, and very similar to the first half, about halfway through. We'll pass over to Charlie in a few moments. This is when Ipswich almost do just sit back a little bit, and we've seen what a Southampton all about. Bree gives away the ball, Clark comes over, Clark does well to win the free kick as well. So it will be a free kick for Ipswich, almost inside the quadrants on the left-hand side of the corner flag. Change coming up for Ipswich. Apologies, they've already made their double change. Southampton will be the side next to go to the bench. Definitely 1 change is coming up. I thought there might have been 2, but Adoze will be coming on. It will be Tom Fellows off. So when you get Tom Fellows off, attacking player forward, Samuel Adoze on to the field for him. And you spoke about making changes. I think you're spot on, because this is such a high intensity, high tempo game right now. To keep it going, you need those subs, as you said.
Absolutely. Adoze, one of a number of former Manchester City players that now feature for Southampton, of course, including the captain Harwood Bellis. They seem to have a very good working relationship ever since the Romeo Lavia transfer. But it's interesting to see what impact he can have on this game. I thought Fellows had been fairly anonymous, particularly in this second half when the game really picked up, actually, and the wide players for Ipswich were really starting to make things happen. They've both obviously been subbed off now, but that's surely got to be more than the fact that they'd ran themselves a little bit ragged than any performance issues, because they were both looking pretty handy for Ipswich.
And I think you're right. I feel as well a little bit for Fellows, as I feel a bit for Burns, because both these sides have flying left fullbacks, so they're quite left heavy. So Philogene on the left and Cienza on the left for both sides, they thrive a little bit more. They get a bit more of the ball. Fellows and Burns do a lot more of the dirty work, or when they do have the ball, they don't have a full-back overlapping. Furlong's a little bit more reserved. He does get forward for Ipswich, but similar for Bree for Southampton. They've lost the ball here. Here comes Southampton. Yander back into a good area. Matthew Seymour, the man who made the mistake. That's not his first this evening. But credit to him that time. He got back and he clears the ball away. But that's, again, you spoke about being quite lackadaisical on the ball. That's a perfect example of it.
Once again, back to goal, under no pressure. He's got so many options, but then Southampton deploy 2 men on him, and he just doesn't seem bothered about getting the ball away quickly. He does well to recover with the clearance, but that's exactly what I was on about. I'm glad that he's proven me right so quickly, but yeah, it's just really bizarre play. I think, just read the situation. Some players can do it. Busquets could do it. Dembele could do it, but I think this is such a big, important game for your team. Don't be messing around with it that close to your own goal.
Yeah, I think it's Very, very silly for a man to see. And again, because if that was the first time he did it, you just got, oh, he's made a mistake. But as you said, I want to say that's at least the third or fourth time he's done that. Not every time he's been caught, and again, credit to him, he got back that time, but you still would say that, look, just, get the ball away, play it back to your goalie. You could have played it back to a centre-back. If anything, he took a touch, took another touch, as you say, two players pounced upon him. Almost a pressing trigger for the Saints. Looks like they're going to make at least another substitution in just a moment. Ipswich have the ball inside their own penalty area, but with that, we are just over halfway through this second half, and my word, what a second half we've had. 71.5 minutes on the clock. It's Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1. They're coming forward and take us through to full time. Pass you over to Charlie.
Yeah, more brilliant centre forward play from Azon there to get the ball down and onto the substitute Clark on the left hand side. He's been on the ball for about 5 seconds now, 10 seconds, and he's not able to craft an opportunity, but he does retain possession. Now he's going to whip a ball into the back post. He was searching for his substitute partner, Casey McAteer, on this right-hand side, the former Leicester City man, but it was well defended by Manning, the goal scorer, of course. I guess if you can call him that, I think it was on target, but it is going to be another substitution readied for Ipswich as they come over to take this corner. On the right hand side, it'll be Davis to whip in another in-swinger. I think it might be all in-swingers we've seen tonight on the corner front, both teams certainly favouring them. And there is 5 or 6 Ipswich players in the box. It's not overly attacking. I think they're happy with the current state of the game, but 2 Ipswich players launched themselves at that one as it went in a little bit short to the near post, unable to make anything of that one, but they do retain possession, and Leif Davis will try and come again down the right hand side, and he beats his man, tries to put one in with his weaker left foot, and it's defended well by Bree, just puts it out for another corner for Ipswich.
That's really good from Davies, because I'm not sure I've seen him dribble a lot with the ball. I've seen him overlapping, taking a touch and pulling good deliveries in, really good work rate and good set pieces, as we've already spoke about, but you don't see him take his man on that many times, and that was fantastic there from the full-back. And you are right, I don't think we've seen an out-swinger this year. They've all been in-swingers and usually been good deliveries, just defended well.
Yeah, corner count reads 5 to Ipswich, 4 for the home team Southampton so far. That one's deep into the box, and Harwood Bellis makes a little bit of a mess of trying to clear it, but Greaves can't quite make the most of that half opportunity or quarter opportunity. But judging by the fact that they're all hanging around in the box, I think it's another corner for Ipswich on the other side of the pitch. It's going to be another in-swinger, this time Nunes, the right footer, goes out to take it. We're approaching the 75-minute mark in this unofficial off-tube studio commentary of Southampton versus Ipswich, which is taking place at St Mary's. Crucial clash at the top of the championship table, as that one is right on the head of the goalkeeper and not dealt with quickly, and the header comes back in, but the goalkeeper Pertez dealt with it better that time, and he tries to get Southampton away quickly, but it's a bit of a sandwich from 2 of the Ipswich attackers trying to stop that counter. It was a weird little two-handed throw out just to try and find the gap, but it's just a complete shirt pull from Azon. He knows what he's doing there, just takes one for the team, pulls down the Southampton attacker on the halfway line, and that is his last play of the match. Probably perfect timing, really. I imagine it was already him that was going to be substituted, but if not, that certainly hurried things along, and Hurst comes on in his place up front, and then Kajust for the Swedish player is also making his way on in midfield. Was it Neil that he was off for?
Was it Nunes? Nunes or Neil? Okay, our broadcasters don't always help us with the substitutes being made, so we definitely know, as Charlie said, Azon off and Hurst on, and just waiting for full confirmation of who came on, who came off. Apologies for Kajust. I believe it was Nunes, but we'll see, because Neil could always push forward a little bit, but we'll wait for full confirmation of who came off. But you're right, I think Azon almost did that because he knew he was going off, so the yellow card's not going to hamper me. Yeah, right, Perez almost did a basketball-esque chest pass there. It was quite unique from the keeper, I'll say.
Confirmation that it was Nunes that made way for Kajust in the centre of the park, as Furlong is looking to throw down the right hand side for Ipswich to get them out of a little bit of pressure, and Southampton managed to reclaim possession deep within their own half. They're being pressed by the two substitutes that have just come on. Hurst bearing down on his man, but they do manage to get it away and out to Bree on this right hand side. That's brilliant play to beat his man and whip the ball in, but it's defended by Greaves. He can only loop the ball up in the air, but it's cleared on the second time of asking. That was fantastic wing play there down that right hand side for Southampton. Hurst now, he's a bit of a bigger, more imposing figure for Ipswich leading the line. Do you think that's going to have any impact on the rest of this game?
I think it will. It will, even just little things of set pieces, won't it? And we've already spoke about Azon. He works his socks off, but in terms of a striker, in terms of scoring, in terms of getting himself maybe in better positions, I think Hurst is better at that than Azon. And I think they're both good options. As I said, I think if you blended them both together, you'd have a fantastic striker just to offer different things. I can imagine that Kieran McKenna's thinking, coming into this game, Azon offers this, so we'll start him. And in terms of Hurst, he brings different things later on in the game. So they're going to defend the set piece now. Well, he helps attacking them, also helps defending them too.
Yeah, absolutely not a bad person to have off from the bench with 10 goals and 3 assists in the Championship this season, Hurst. But he's got more defending to do right now as the ball's about to be whipped in by Southampton. But they do manage to nip in there, Ipswich. The ball gets to the edge of the box, shot comes in, and that was not far away. I think it was Azaz almost close to repeating his weekend heroics, this time with the outside of the left boot. Beat his man. It was Neil who managed to get past, and then that's a fantastic hit. But much like the Philogene one, with the way it's curling, it's always moving away from that bottom corner.
Yeah, it's a lovely first touch, and then quickly he's asked to take a touch on his right as well, and that sets it up quite nicely. But you're right, with how he has to hit it, if that's a bit more central on his laces, it might be saved by the keeper, but it's going on target. They've won the ball, and here come the tractor boys.
Yeah, Leif Davis forward, finding the substitute Clark. He's going to look to cut inside and rolls the ball really towards the back post, but it just beat everyone, and Hurst has to follow it onto the right hand side and get it into Matasiwa, who looks to play forward towards the edge of the box. Is McAteer on the turn, takes a shot, but it's weak and bobbles into the grateful hands of the goalkeeper, and Southampton will look to bring it forward here. It's been mostly Ipswich in the last 10 or so minutes, it has to be said, but Southampton looking to take the sting out of things for now. Just a reminder that this would be pretty much, it would be the end of Southampton's bid for automatic promotion and going straight back up to the Premier League at the first time of asking, and it would bolster, if not confirm, Ipswich's desire to do exactly the same thing. Both teams relegated, and PSG Bayern is still just going absolutely crazy. It's 5-2 now. We didn't even have time to update you on the fourth goal for PSG, but now it's Skelia and Dembele who have added those goals. So absolutely ridiculous game in Paris, but we've not got a bad one here in Southampton either, and there's just over 10 minutes left to go. Can either side find a winner? It'd be massively helpful to both of them, or either of them if they could. And it's Manning for Southampton driving forward now, the goal scorer, and he gets a brilliant pass out to Larin, and that is a fantastic goal from Larin. He managed to just about get that forward pass from Manning under control. Took 2 or 3 touches to do so, but once he did, he beat his man, and then with the outside of his right foot, got it past Walton in the Ipswich goal. That was brilliant from Manning and brilliant from Larin.
That is a fantastic goal. We're speaking about Champions League games with PSG against Bayern Munich. That's a Champions League finish right there from the 31-year-old Canadian. It's his 8th goal of the season, his 7th in the league. Manning, he picks him out. It's through the eye of a needle is that pass from the fullback, and I think his shot was on target from the free kick. I'm on about the first goal for Southampton, so probably a goal scorer, now a provider. But it's just, again, playing out from the back, but it's just with ease, isn't it, for Southampton there? Too many spaces and too many gaps, and Larin falls into him. I think it's a lovely first touch, and Davies and Greaves, they both make the same defensive run. They almost collide into each other. Larin takes the first touch on his right boot, just then chops inside to a degree, and on his favourite right boot, on the outside of it, just pokes it into the back of the net. As I say, Davies has got him. I think Larry's going to go past him, but then Greaves almost says, get out of my way, I've taken my own defender out now. Larry's still got a lot to do. It's a great finish. And you spoke about a draw, it puts them completely out of it. 3 points is the only way that Southampton can keep their automatic promotion places alive. Look, Ipswich will still be in the driver's seat this weekend, but it means that it's all to play for second. From neutrals, it keeps us very much interested, let's be quite honest. And it's a top goal, it's a top finish, 2-1 to Ipswich, and it's a 2-1 to Southampton, and now Ipswich, what do they do? Because goal difference could be massive. Let's say now Southampton win this 3-1, goal difference becomes a big thing at the moment. So substitutions have been made, and Southampton right now, this will be a big 3 points.
Yep, Chuba Akpom is on in the centre of midfield for Matasiwa, the man who was living life on the wild side in the second half, has been fair to say, and he's been hooked off with Ipswich falling behind. And then for Southampton, Stewart, the Scottish striker, has come on for the goal scorer Larin, so that goal was his last action of the game, and what a goal it was. It was absolutely brilliant centre forward play. We're just seeing the league as it stands. Ipswich just the 1 point above Southampton now, and Millwall as well. I think for the neutral, that's exactly the goal that you wanted to go in this game, because it's going to make that final day so interesting. Southampton are away at Preston North End on the last day of the season, whereas Ipswich face QPR. And what a day we have in prospect.
Yeah, all the games are 12:30, so that'll be a fun few hours. And you're right, look, Ipswich could just do the business against QPR and we'll all be singing for nothing. But Southampton, they're keeping interested, and here they come again. Yeah,
fantastic defending from Greaves there, who's the last man, or almost there, up against Azaz, who was bearing down with his lovely languid run. Azaz. Oh no, it was Azaz that played the ball actually. He played the ball to Manning as well for the goal, so he's starting to really pull the strings in a slightly deeper role. But Greaves, I have to say, he's a bit old school. He likes going to ground, and it went almost awfully for him at one point in the second half, but for the most part he's got those tackles spot on in this game.
Yeah, he's spot on. He absolutely clattered Azaz, wasn't it, earlier on, and that's where the goal came from. But an old school tackle there, and he has to get that one right. You're spot on, because if he gets that one wrong, first of all, it could have been a penalty, possibly. It was nearly inside the box, but definitely would have been a second yellow card. And look, Ipswich with a corner now. Manning's already provided from a set piece and provided that wonderful ball for Larin, as you spoke about. If they can get a third, this game is done and dusted, and gets them a buffer of 2 goal difference as well.
Southampton fans behind the goal looking to be in good voice as they try and get their team over the line. And this one, it goes into the back post towards Harwood Bellis, and he heads it across goal, but no one's able to get on the end of it. Ipswich trying desperately to escape from Southampton, and they just about managed to do it. And now down the right hand side comes Hurst. He's probably the man you'd want in the box, but he's the one trying to whip the ball into the box, and he actually does a very decent job. McAteer on the turn gets the shot off, and it's saved low to his right by Peretz in the Southampton goal. I tell you what, when I saw it was Hurst on the right and McAteer in the middle there, I thought, well, this isn't going to go well, but it was actually a pretty good pass, and then McAteer did really well to get a shot off there, and just because he was back to goal, he just couldn't generate the power needed to beat the goalkeeper.
Oh, you said exactly my thoughts. Down the right hand side, you can always say, oh, it's the number 9 Hurst. Oh dear, you're right, you want him in there, you want McAteer on the right, whipping it in for him. But yeah, you're right, give credit to us, that was a lovely ball into the box. And the only thing, if I'm being really uber critical of McAteer, is you said he turns and he's got no power behind it. It's more that, could he have got his head up and had a quick scan of Clark was to his left? Yes, it's an awkward pass, I'm not saying it's easy, but could he have maybe faked it, played it to Clark? Could he have faked it, taken a turn? It's a big moment, so I'm not saying it's one of them I'm sure they'll analyse afterwards, and this is me in hindsight saying this. I think at the time I thought go for a shot, but it's just as you say, because he's turning, if he's running onto it, take the shot all day long. But it was quite awkward. But as Ipswich just showing that they're not out of it, even though they are 2-1 down.
Yeah, once again, Ipswich comfortable just being on the ball in their own half and taking a few risks as Greaves faked and turns back towards his own goal, but they've managed to wriggle their way out of the Southampton press for now. And I think you're right, there must be some kind of trigger that Southampton are using, because then they fell right back after Greaves. Maybe it's a bit of a Pep Guardiola 7 seconds rule, but I'm not quite sure. Bayern Munich have just scored against PSG. It's 5-3 in that game now. Absolutely ridiculous. The Champions League knockout stages continue to deliver year on year. It's Upamecano who got that goal, and with the way this first leg's gone, you don't think Bayern Munich are anyway close to being out of it just yet. Ipswich with a long throw into the box, which is defended resolutely by Southampton. They've got 4 minutes plus added time to hold on to what would be an absolutely crucial win and just keep the juggernaut rolling. It would be their 18th game unbeaten, but the shot has come in from Clark on the volley, and he has equalised for Ipswich. That was out of nowhere, really. The ball was just bobbling around. It looked like Southampton were going to be able to clear their lines. Fell to the substitute Clark, and he just got his laces through it, drilled it low with the left boot. Goalkeeper had no chance, and we're all level again in this enthralling championship tie. Southampton 2, Ipswich 2.
Well, what a second half it's been, as you spoke about. I don't know if you're spot on and that they turned the Champions League game on at half time, because this has been a fantastic half of football from both sides, showing why they should be in the Premier League. It was bobbling around, no one could clear it away. Clark ran onto it perfectly, almost to his left hand side. He had Cayuse to his right hand side. He had O'Shea, and he almost went out of my way. I'm going to hit this sweetly into the bottom corner. Yes, on his weaker left peg, but my word, what a strike. He rifles it into the bottom corner. But that's almost what I think Kieran McKenna does with his side, is, as we spoke about, the three that started in Burns, Nunes and Philogene, they started this evening. Clark and McAtee started last game, it's rotation. He almost doesn't look at it as a starting 11, he looks at it as a team, and that's what you've got to do at the top level, whether it's the top of the Championship, top of the Premier League, whatever it is. You can't look at an 11, you've almost got to look at an 18, haven't you? And who can, my bench here on the bench, can you come on and make a difference? And that's what Clark's done, and right now, ending Southampton's automatic promotion places races, and they're coming forward again.
Yeah, it's Clark on the ball, and he cuts back to find Leif Davis on the overlap, and the header comes in, and that was whiskers away from being the winner out of nowhere. I think it was Furlong who managed to get himself all the way up into the box. He's using his height to boost the Ipswich numbers in the box from right back. Well, that was a good header, powerful header, but probably should have hit the target from there. Ipswich all of a sudden just looking like a different side once more, and it feels like the introduction of Clark, although he took a few minutes to get going, has really helped them. It's the other substitute, Hurst, now on the ball. Once again, he's drifted out further right than you would like as a manager, but he's done well to retain possession. Clark's just popping up everywhere now. He's on the edge of the box looking to make things happen. You can see how the confidence is coursing through him. He tried to take on two men there and just overextends himself a little bit, and Southampton will try and come away, and they just unable to do so. But yeah, Clark, you're absolutely right, as he's on the ball again. He's looking to take on his man, get the shot away into the right post. That was a bizarre shot where he almost tried to just beat Peretz on the near post. It hit the post, bounced off Peretz, and then out for a corner. But Clark has just turned this game on its head here.
Yeah, is this Jack Clark or Kvaratskhelia at the moment? My word, the former Leeds United man, he's been outstanding. And Peretz is quite lucky. It's his right arm, because unless it's his left, I think that's going in the back of his own net. It's an own goal, but you're right, he's come on and changed his game. And I think every player should be like this. When you come off the bench, it's proving that I should start at the weekend. Why? You don't mean you're being dropped because you're out of the 11. It could be rotation. It can be just, I prefer this player against the fullback. But if I'm Jack Clark, he might be like this. Might not be like, no, I'll come on and I'll show. And also, James Breeze had Philogene running him all afternoon, and now he's got Clark, and it's another corner for Ipswich to take the lead, maybe.
Yeah, Leif Davis whips in an in-swinger, and once again it's a little bit too far to the back post. It might have been deliberate, because O'Shea, one of the main threats, was back there looking to head it across goal, and he has won another corner for his side. It will be over on the right-hand side, and it will be Jack Clark, the man of the moment, over to take it with Nunes off the pitch. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He's not starting because of his lack of ability or how his season's gone. That's his 16th championship goal this season, as Bayern have just pulled another one back against PSG. It's 5-4 in that one now. Speaking of 5, we've got 5 added minutes in this one, in what has been a fantastic game in its own right, really, particularly the second half, where both teams have taken the handbrake off as we predicted they would. Jack Clark, he's had a brilliant 10 minutes, but that was a woeful corner, the first one for a while to beat the first man. The quality has been pretty high in general in this game, but Ipswich do keep the ball, and they will look to come forward again. It was Neil who managed to release McAteer down this left-hand side, and he is dispossessed, but it only goes as far back as the goalscorer Clark. and it's now moved over to the right hand side, and O'Shea, the centre back, somehow got himself at right back, and he looks to whip the ball in. Another shot comes in from Clark. That one's blocked, and Furlong, who is just playing at striker now, he's completely abandoned his right back duties. Couldn't quite get a shot away in time, but it's really telling here that Ipswich aren't happy with the draw. They want to get this done tonight, or all but done, and they're throwing everything at it, Lewis.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what Southampton are thinking out there, because a draw does not for us. So if we lose, we lose. But we go on our shield trying to go for 3 points. And we spoke of that long ball forward here. Stewart brings it down. No, he doesn't. I think, unfortunately, Stewart's a great. I think he's more of a box presence than Larin, and Larin's got a great goal. But I think they've struggled to hold her up since Larin's come off, but they're coming forward with Cienza.
Yeah, Cienza looks like he wants to cut inside again, and it's a cute little pass. Gets the 1-2 return that he was after, and he's still going into the box and onto the right-hand side. The ball's whipped in across the area. It's bounced off 2 Southampton players and just harmlessly towards the goalkeeper. I think Manning wasn't expecting that there. It was a Stewart. You might have thought the big man, the striker, would go for goal, but it was a clever little nod back across the area, but Manning just caught him completely unaware, and it just bounced off him. I think they were both potentially offside regardless, but yeah, Manning just sticking his shoulder out, but that's all he could muster.
Yeah, I think it's a decent cross, but you're right, Manning's trying to get back onside. He doesn't shoot goals offside at the last second. I just think Cienza takes it too long, and then I think everyone doesn't know where to go, because he's on all the way. He should be here. I just think he should have pulled the trigger on for a shot at goal, if I'm honest. But yeah, the Southampton are going for Ipswich as well. They're probably thinking that, you know, as you say, a win sews it up for us, doesn't it? A loss, we still, if we lose this evening, we still do our job at the weekend. We're promoted automatically anyway, so a loss doesn't hurt us too much. Southampton, a loss puts them definitely in the playoffs. So the second 45 has been off the charts this evening at St Mary's.
Absolutely. In terms of what's been going on elsewhere, it's still 1-0 to Barnsley in their match at Northampton. Peterborough Mansfield still goalless and deep into added time there as Ipswich come forward again. McAteer now looking for a 1-2 of his own. Doesn't quite get it, but the ball goes across the area, and it is the winner. No! It is in the back of the net for Ipswich, but the flag went up quickly. It was Neil who thought he'd snuck in at the back post to secure the 3 points that would pretty much send his team to the Premier League. It was actually Neil who whipped the ball across to the back post for Hurst, but it was him rather than Hurst who was offside, so it remains 2-2. Just finishing telling you about those scores. Peterborough Mansfield 0-0. Stockport have pulled one back at Port Vale, or against Port Vale, sorry, but it's still 2-1 to Port Vale, and PSG Bayern, as we've spoken about more than enough, is 5-4 to PSG. We've got a minute and a half left of this fantastic clash. It did really seem for a moment there like we were going to be perfectly set up for that final day with 3 or 4 teams still able to get automatic promotion, but Ipswich have killed this game off in the sense of a Southampton victory. It is 2-2, and it's Clark once more driving forward, takes a shot, and that one's saved, and he's got his hands covering his mouth because he knows how close that was to an absolute screamer.
It's inches away from going in even after a save, so that shows how good of a strike it was, but that's what we were hammering home about, what Philogene did do. Clark has gone left, he's gone right, he's almost looking at what the defender's doing. They went, if you give me space down the left, that's where I go. You give me space right. He's almost waiting for the defender to make a decision. He's been excellent. Now look, this could have been Clark starts and he's not as impressive. Philogene comes on and does this. This is Clark running at a tired defence, but my word, has he been a game changer? I think the first outswinger coming in this evening.
Yeah, I was going to say, ring the klaxon, the outswinger klaxon. It's just going to be Clark. I think he's got to the point where he's feeling himself to such an extent that he's like, no, I'll come over and take this one. I think I've got a good delivery in me. To be fair, his last one was poor, probably the worst thing he's done since coming on the pitch, but this one's a little bit better out towards the penalty spot, and it's O'Shea, the intended target, who can get a half head on it, but it only loops high, and then the referee has to take evasive action, and then straight after that he blows his full-time whistle. That's the end of what was an absolutely brilliant second half. Ipswich are pretty much back in the Premier League at the first time of asking. They will go into the final day knowing that they've done enough. Southampton will have to settle for the playoffs, but it's been an absolutely fantastic match here this evening, and it finished Ipswich 2, Southampton 2.